Hey everyone, today we are finishing off our look at the constellations in the devotion system with the chaos constellations. So, chaotic beings crave entropy and destruction above all else. The chaos tree is heavily for occultists, conjurers, things that deal with like vitality damage and chaos damage, and then like maybe some spellcastery things and witchblades and whatnot. So chaos, the rat is the first thing, and it is cunning and spirit, poison damage, cunning spirit, poison acid res, and then more poison damage. So very much a poison related constellation. It's it's actually kind of bizarre to me because it's a weird damage type on a tier 1 constellation. Yeah, it's just very, very odd. In my opinion, it's also like there are other poison things you could go for early on. But anyways, the bat is vitality and bleeding damage, chance of vitality decay, vitality bleed damage, life leech damage, and some life steal. And then the ability Twin Fangs, 20% chance on attack. Vampiric Fangs assault your foe and sap them of their vitality. I don't actually know what this looks like. I don't think I've ever gone for this ability. I would assume it's like a 2-shot thing that pops off you and passes through enemies and deals damage and heals you a little bit with the leech. That's actually technically an Eldritch thing. That I didn't do in the Eldritch tree, in the Eldritch video, but whatever. The Jackal is 3 points for a +3 constellation bonus. It's a 1-to-1 trade. It's a good prerequisite meter. So the Jackal gives you energy, your pet's health. You gain offensive ability and attack speed, and then a percent chunk of all damage, and your pets get attack speed. It's a nice little 3-shot there, whether you're using a pet build or not, just to meet some chaos requirements. So the Viper is 10 spirit, 15% chance of 40 energy leech over 2 seconds, and an energy absorption, vitality resistance, and then percent reduced target's elemental resistance for 3 seconds, and some offensive ability, percent offensive ability. That alone makes this kind of worth picking up. I use it a lot on characters, regardless of where they're going. It's good for meeting the chaos primordial prerequisites as well. But yeah, percent offensive ability is really awesome. If you are using weapon attacks and you're elemental based, it also might be worth it to just pick this up, because you can reduce the target's elemental res with just your basic attacks, your main hand weapon damage attacks. So the Vulture. The Vulture is 10 cunning, bleed res, life leech res, percent cunning, and some life leech damage and vitality resistance. I actually like the Vulture a lot. Not only does it give you 5 chaos, because chaos doesn't actually have a lot of like the things like Sailor's Guide or these 4 for Eldritch. So it's a 1-to-1 point spread, and the vitality res and bleeding res are both really nice. Bleeding resistance to me is always a little difficult to obtain. It's a little easier now, but like having it from an easy to get like devotion constellation that's pretty handy in meeting prerequisites is really nice. So the Fiend, we have fire and chaos damage. Spirit, your pets get fire damage. Chaos resistance, you get fire and chaos damage. Your pets get fire damage. Very much a hellhound supporting constellation, in addition to supporting you as a fire chaos character. But also you have Flame Torrent, 25% chance on attack. There are these abilities that give you like this swirl effect around you, like Agravax Malice. I believe this is a fire variant of that deals fire and chaos damage to things around you or the thing that's casting this. So you can actually assign this to your Hellhound, and because Hellhounds are fire chaos based. So yeah, you can have your Hellhound with this little flame thing going around it, or around you. It all depends on what you want out of it. Yeah, the Wendigo is a Chaos Primordial combo thing. Vitality damage, Vitality Decay, Spirit and Health, Casting Speed and Vitality Res. Less damage from beasts and percent health. Vitality damage, Vitality Decay, and Life Leech damage. Wendigo's Mark, 15% chance on attack. You just will deal additional flat vitality damage, and that damage dealt will heal you. Wendigo's Mark is a pretty nice ability if you're gearing vitality damage, and yeah, it procs off of whatever ability you're using. So yeah, pretty solid. It's also a mark, so it will technically work off of all your abilities. So the Hydra is another one of these, requires a weapon and gives you like a slew of little bonuses, like the Kraken and the Berserker and Oaklane's Lantern and Blaze of the Dar and Rowan's Scepter. This one is for ranged weapons, 15 offensive ability, some percent all damage, pierce damage, offensive ability, percent offensive ability, and slow resistance. So if you're using a ranged weapon, regardless if it's one or two-handed, you might want to pick up the Hydra. It could be nice little damage boost for you. It does have 3 requirements though, so just be aware of that. Yeah, it's one of those 3 requirement thingies, 3 requirement constellations that float around this place. So then we have the Chariot of the Dead. This is an Ascendant Eldritch combination. Probably should have covered it in a previous video, but I wasn't thinking of it. But it does give you chaos. So it's like, yeah, this technically works here. So, Chariot of the Dead, 15 cunning, 15 offensive ability, vitality resistance, cunning, offensive ability, and offensive ability. And then the ability Wayward Soul, 100% chance when hit by a crit, you will heal and gain some defensive ability for a duration. Not a bad defensive tree to pick up. Not a bad offensive tree to pick up either because of the percent offensive ability. So if you are in Ascendant Eldritch and you want to unlock Chaos maybe, you could, pick this up. It would also give you 3 on Eldritch, so you could meet some more prerequisites. All in all, not a bad little ability for what it is. So, the Revenant's awesome. If you're using a character that's in melee a lot, the Revenant is potentially life-saving. So, the Revenant, it requires 8 chaos. It's sort of one of the bigger ones, like Blades of Nadar or Solemn Watcher, etc. And it's great for your melee characters because of the life leech. So you get 3% there with a chance of energy leech. You have less damage from undead, which is pretty handy. There are a lot of undead in the game, and some percent health. Vitality res for you and your pets. More life leech. You get 9% life leech off this thing, and some energy absorption. And then more damage to undead. Again, not bad because there are a lot of undead in this game. Some attack speed, which is pretty nice as well, and your pets can life leech then. And the ability is Raise the Dead, 100% chance on enemy death from whatever ability is assigned here. Gotta note that. You will raise skeletons from the dead. So it's like the ability isn't great, but like the nodes that give you life leech are really great. I'm not even joking. Like 9% life leech for anyone that's swinging a weapon around is pretty solid. Raise the Dead though, it's sort of in this like gray area, like the Necromancer's Death Grips, where you have to be the one to kill enemies. And I don't think you can assign it to pets. No, I'm not actually seeing the Briarthorn in here. So you can't really assign this to your pets. You have to be the one to kill the enemies, which means if you're in a pet build, which is what this is more made for, you have to snipe out kills from your pets to get skeletons. Sort of in a weird zone where a hybridized character might get a lot of benefit out of these. And I mean, they're not going to be, even at high level, be dealing a lot of damage, but they do have that slow. So you kind of have these like independent little targets that will be slowing enemies for you. So the Dying God is a 3rd tier constellation for Primordial and Chaos. Vitality damage, offensive ability, Chaos damage, offensive ability, Spirit and offensive ability for you, bonus damage and attack speed for your pets, offensive ability and chaos res, and then vitality damage, chaos res, a lot of both. And then the ability Hungering Void, 100% chance on attack. You'll activate the pseudo toggle ability, which will cost you health per second, but you get a ton of crit damage, vitality damage, chaos damage, total speed, chaos retaliation, and a chance to terrify retaliate. So things that hit you will get terrified. And then your pets will also gain a large chunk of damage, crit damage, and they have a chance of stunning and chance of slowing. So the Hungering Void is sort of a risk to reward thing. 140 health per second is a lot. For 10 seconds, that's about 1,400 health. Countered by whatever health regen you have, and it goes on cooldown then. So like you'll have this on-off phase, 10 seconds on, 11 seconds off, back and forth, more or less, of you activating this crazy ability that will give you a lot of damage and your pets a lot of damage at the cost of your health. It's a really fun ability though. I actually kind of like it, even though I've never used it, because you don't really see things like this in the game, where you're sort of trading your life force for power. Really cool. Incidentally, if you are doing that, there's that node there for flat chaos damage. And your pets get a huge bonus to damage as well. Yeah, so you actually will get... It's actually not a bad thing. It's not a bad ability, in my opinion, to have this risk to reward thing. Plus, you're probably picking up the Revenant on the way, and that's where you can get a whole lot of Life Leech. So... For Chaos Eldritch, there is the 3rd tier constellation, Ulzin's Torch. If you're a fire damage character, you're probably going to pick this up, because it's percent fire damage and offensive ability, percent offensive ability and chaos res, movement speed and crit damage, fire damage, fire resistance, burn damage, and max fire res up, burn damage, and the ability called Meteor Shower. Meteor Shower, 30% chance on attack, does exactly what it says on the tin. It's just this meteor shower that fills an area with meteors and deals a lot of damage. Really awesome, really great for fire builds. Even like I'm using it on my Albrecht's Aether Ray character, because he also gears fire, so he can get this in there as well. Really, really nice raining crap from the sky ability. Incidentally, you can assign that to Blackwater Cocktail, and I think that'll have those spawn a lot. Blackwater Cocktail is good for proccing abilities. So I think we're down to our final 2. Spear of the Heavens and the Eons Hourglass are both Primordial Chaos 3rd tier abilities. Spear of the Heavens, lightning damage and offensive ability, Aether damage, offensive ability and Aether res, crit damage and lightning res. Lots of Aether and lots of lightning damage and max lightning resistance, and the ability called Spear of the Heavens. This is definitely for Aether characters, lightning characters, or Aether lightning characters. And I'm not big on the ability. I picked it up with this character because, I don't know where I'd put that point otherwise. But Spear of the Heavens is sort of like these slow falling arrows will hit things that hit you. And they deal, okay damage. I wish they stunned a little better. But, it's additional retaliation-ish damage. But I do recommend this if you're doing lightning or Aether to pick up the stat nodes at least, especially that one. That's a really good one. So Eons Hourglass is sort of a super defense constellation. It's more along the lines of Tree of Life and Light of the Empyrean, but with a spellcastery vibe. So you'll get 30 to all your attributes, which is pretty cool. Defensive ability and reduction to elemental burns. Again, that's not bad. Damage reduction is not bad. Aether and slow res. Defensive ability, vitality res, max vitality res, which is pretty nice. This really awesome 6% avoidance for melee and for projectiles, and reducing entrapment duration and reducing reflected damage, which is pretty cool. But 6% on those two is great. Not even lying. That's like super great. That's just an awesome layer of additional defense, especially if you're, say, a spellbreaker who's doing that already. This is just more of that. And then the time stop ability is nice. It's not over the top great, but it's nice. As it levels up, its recharge goes down, so that at level 10, it has, I believe, a 3-second recharge, and the petrify is for 3 seconds. So basically every 3 seconds when you take a hit, there's a 30% chance you'll proc this, and it's sort of an area around you that you'll petrify everything. They'll just stop for 3 seconds. And then you have a slow for things that aren't stopped by the petrify. So a pretty handy little defensive ability. And I think that is going to cover all of the constellations. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything in any of these videos. I believe I've covered everything, and I think I've given some insight, at least, into what the constellations provide and how some of the abilities work and what's good for what. I could do, like, if I'm going to do more detailed devotion things, I'd rather do it in a build video with the build to show it off. But yeah, that's a basic overview of all of the devotion constellations in all 5 of the categories. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.